The following presentation in this video are personal viewpoints of the speaker and do not reflect official policy or views of the Department of Defense or any of the U.S. military services. Welcome back to Shoot, Move, Communicate, where we provide training for military members how to be fit for the fight in life, namely physically, mentally, and spiritually prepared for the violence of combat, as well as tackling the obstacles of everyday life. I'm Chris Reardon, and today we have a special guest and past and former personal trainer and workout partner of mine, Lieutenant Tyler Chittick, U.S. Marine Corps. Now, Tyler will be given a down and dirty class on Nutrition 101 for military members. Tyler started off his military career as an enlisted infantry Marine, where he served as both a machine gunner and a scout sniper. Now later, he was accepted into the Marine Enlisted Commissioning Program and is now a student at Naval Flight School, where he is training to be a future Marine pilot. Tyler's an avid CrossFitter and a fitness enthusiast who regularly competes in weightlifting and CrossFit competitions, as well as training with Olympic athletes. Tyler has a passion for passing gouge on to service members, with a special passion for his fellow Marines for what it takes from both a nutrition, mobility, and exercise standpoint to be a lethal machine downrange. And so I hope you stick around to watch this incredible presentation.
Hey Marines, greetings. My name is Lieutenant Tyler Chittick, and on behalf of Major Chris Reardon, I'm here to talk about some points of performance for nutrition, some things to focus on, some advice and some concepts to throw your way to prepare you for getting ready to go down range and to maximize your fitness and your readiness so we can all perform our best in our duty to our country and to each other. To start things off, this is in no means an official policy from the DoD or the U.S. Marine Corps. This is nothing more than some nutritional advice that I myself am bringing forth to you based upon what I've been taught by professionals in the field. And as a professional myself, I've coached strength and conditioning and fitness out in town, wherever I've been stationed, kind of moonlighting and helping out in the local area as a fitness coach. I've been doing that since 2007, and after that, in 2008, when I enlisted and then I went out to the fleet, I continued that kind of weekend profession, like I said, wherever I was stationed. So I've coached in Washington, in California, in Colorado, and I've coached in the UK and Norway. All right, with that being said, this is going to be a two-part video series. The first part here is talking about the whys, like why are we going to eat the way that I'm going to suggest that we approach eating, and then the next video, I'm going to flip this whiteboard around and we're going to talk about the how to go about reaching some fitness performance goals and some nutrition performance goals by means of the chow hall. So the second part of this video series is going to be geared towards those Marines that are living in the barracks. I come from personal experience of having lived in the barracks for years when I was in the fleet and enlisted before I got promoted to lieutenant and got out of the barracks. So with that being said, let's talk about some nutrition for performance. And what I mean by that is, and we're going to start with number one here, is looking at food as a means of fueling our bodies and our minds. All right, now why? Why do we want to fuel our bodies and our minds? Well, we want to perform. I mean, tell me one Marine that you know that doesn't want to be an absolute nightmare, a absolute terror when it comes to the concept of them in the minds of our enemies, right? No one doesn't want to be a badass, right? Food is an essential aspect of us becoming more lethal as a unit, more lethal as an individual. And it's going to start with the individual on how you fuel your body every day, all right? So every day of the week, when you're about to eat, I'd like for you all to start thinking about, how am I going to fuel my body with the food that I'm choosing to eat, okay? And that's going to drive our decisions on what to eat if we approach food in that manner. Now, with that being said, none of us are machines and robots where we only eat the perfect meals at the perfect times all week long, all right? If you stick to a food schedule that's a healthy one, well, you might go a little crazy by the end of the week, because who doesn't want to have fill in the blank, your favorite nasty for you food? I know I do. I absolutely love eating that cheat meal on the weekends, all right? But let's talk about cheat day, like the weekend or weekends, versus a cheat meal. I want you to remember something. If you choose to start eating cheat meals and they turn into cheat days, like all day Saturday, and throw in a handful of beers at a game, you're going to have to work to make up for all that decrease in your performance fitness level the following week, and you're kind of working in a deficit. So please consider the foods you're eating and how they're going to positively and negatively affect your performance, both physically and mentally, after you consume them. All right, so let's try to limit your cheat days to cheat meals, to maybe a cheat meal here or there, usually during the weekend. All right. A lot of you aren't eating breakfast, I know, because I was one of you, all right? And I get it, all right? You want to sleep in a little bit longer, you're on duty the night before, you're dog tired, you don't have time to wake up early enough to go to the chow hall for breakfast, whatever. But they call it break fast because you're breaking your fast. You hadn't eaten for X number of hours that you were sleeping the night before, or the day before, depending on your work schedule, if you have to work nights and sleep during the day, whatever. You need to break your fast to fuel your body for what's to come. And that brings me into number 4, which is post-training, pre-training meals. Every meal is either only a pre-training meal or a post-training meal that's preparing you for the next training evolution. What I mean by that is that if you eat breakfast, you're consuming some calories that you want to take in consideration what those calories are going to do for you, and we're about to talk about that, all right? And you need to prepare your body and your mind for what's going to come after that meal. Subsequently, if you have your second, third, fourth, fifth meal of the day, if you just finished a workout, like for instance, I just finished a workout, that's why I'm so sweaty right now, all right, I need to consider after speaking with you all on what am I going to fuel my body with that's going to benefit me after this workout, but also prepare me for the next workout I'm going to do later today, all right? So those are all the concepts I want you to think about, leading into understanding what you're putting in your body with the 3 major macronutrients. So again, quick recap on the concepts. Let's think about food as fueling our system or defueling our system, as in hurting our system, slowing down our potential performance. All right. When to eat cheat meals, or how to approach cheat days as far as the big picture. What's the cost versus the benefit of the number of cheat meals we have. It's important to break our fast because we need to start preparing our body and fueling it for what's to come. All right. And then consider each one of your meals actually either preparing for the next training evolution or recovering from one that you just did and still preparing you for the next one, all right? So let's go into the 3 major macronutrients, which are fats, carbs, and proteins, all right? Fats are hands down the most important nutrient for a number of reasons. 1, maintain cellular and organ function inside your system. It's the only macronutrient that our bodies can't live without. We have to take in fats for proper development and brain function, all right, and also proper organ function with our systems. It keeps your hormones balanced at a proper level, all right, and also some of the added benefits that you're going to see right away is fats contain the most amount of energy production. You create the most ATP from fats, not from carbohydrates, all right? We're going to get into carbohydrate energy production in a second. Fats are also going to keep you satiated. So if you're downrange, or if you have a long time between meals, you need to keep yourself full for a while, all right? Considering taking in more fats, and I'm talking healthy fats. I'm not talking the canola oil fried, corn oil fried stuff, all right, that the USDA and a lot of other organizations are trying to promote. And we'll get into the tinfoil hat conspiracy theories and why those are ridiculous, maybe on a sidebar outside of this video series. But we want to stick to healthy fats because they're going to satiate us, keep us full, fuel our systems in a healthy way, keep our cells functioning properly, all right? Can't stress how important fats are. Can't stress it enough. When we go into carbs, most people consider carbs as the necessary macronutrient for energy, all right? And it is partially so, all right? Carbohydrates. When our liver breaks down carbohydrates, it turns those carbs into glycogen, all right, which is stored energy ready to go do a workout, all right? So the workout that you're going to do today, you're going to be depleting glycogen storage inside your muscles. So post-workout, to prepare yourself for the follow-on activities, whether it be work, play, workout, whatever, all right, replenishing your glycogen storages so you can perform is absolutely necessary. We're talking about replenishing with healthy carbohydrates, all right? Now, if you load up on carbs and then don't utilize anything like physically to take up that glycogen storage and that energy, that glycogen is going to be stored as body fat, okay? for usage later. But to get rid of your body fat, you're going to have to work out all of your glycogen storages and then go into a deficit where your stored fat is, all right? When we take in fats, that doesn't happen as much, all right? But with carbohydrates, you can bet your bottom dollar that even if you have the healthiest sweet potato and quinoa, if you don't burn off the glycogen, the carbohydrates that are stored from those foods, it's gonna get stored as adipose cells, as body fat, okay? So, some things to consider when to take in your carbohydrates. All right, if you need to fuel your system up for a little bit before a long run or a big workout, understood. If you want to replenish your glycogen cells after a workout, throw in your carbohydrates then. But for dinner, before bed, if you're slamming down a bunch of pasta and any kind of like big sandwich hoagie type thing, you're doing nothing with those carbohydrates but sleeping. It's getting stored as body fat, which in turn is not fueling your body the way that we've already talked about, all right? And you're not preparing yourself for the next workout in an efficient way. You're gonna be carrying more weight, all right? It's gonna slow you down. It's gonna make you less efficient, all right? Lastly, a third of the macronutrients we're gonna talk about, and the third one to talk about, is protein, all right? Now, I can't stress this enough. You don't need as much protein as you think, all right? You are not taking in protein in an efficient way. Excess protein is not a good source of energy, all right? We already talked about the best source of energy and an essential one for performance-wise, all right? But protein is not gonna get turned into energy source that is gonna be really beneficial to you, all right? Now, this is gonna come as a kind of a shock, especially to the meatheads out there who think that they need a ton of protein because you work out so hard. Listen, all right? This information I'm about to tell you is coming from the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs. I know because I've talked to the nutrition coaches there when I was coaching a Division I football team in Colorado when I was stationed in Colorado, okay? This is coming from the most elite athletes, nutritionists at the #1 training center in the United States for our athletes that represent our country at the Olympics, all right? They fuel their athletes with between 1 and 1.5 grams per kilo of body weight, all right? One kilo is 2.2 pounds. So if you weigh 185 pounds, you weigh about 85 kilos-ish, all right? Now, if you weigh 200 pounds, you're like 92.3 kilos or whatever. Anyway, if you're working out 3 times a day, like Michael Phelps status, all right, you can bring in up to 1.5 grams of protein per kilo of body weight. Anything more than that, not even our most elite athletes in the country take in more protein than that. All you're doing is wasting your protein and you're digesting it out because it's not going to get turned into energy, all right? So forget whatever magazine that you read that's selling protein powder. Stop wasting your time and money on that stuff, all right? You're wasting your emphasis on your meals and your nutritional intake on something that you're not going to benefit from. Remember, our concept here is food for fueling our system, all right? Now, protein is especially important for cell reproduction, all right, which means recovery after workouts, all right? And if you time your meals right, all right, and you're not throwing in a ton of carbs in the later evening meals because you're not going to be utilizing those carbohydrates for workouts, then you're left with fats and proteins to eat later in the day, all right? What that's going to go towards then is going to be cell reproduction, that's recovery, all right? And it's going to go towards satiation and fueling your system properly so everything's functioning inside your body well, all right? I hope that makes sense. Remember, you're not special when it comes to workouts. Our best athletes in our country that represent us every year or every 4 years, all right, are taking in probably less protein than anyone in that room who's a big lifter person that loves to slam home those protein shakes, okay? So please consider that, all right? Lastly, energy drinks are a big deal. I know they were in the fleet when I was a machine gunner, all right? And then when I moved on to a sniper platoon, we would stay awake for a couple days at a time sometimes for missions, all right? And energy drinks was something that kept us awake, alert, and alive, all right? However, if you're working a job where you don't have to stay awake for an exorbitant amount of time, when you slam home a bunch of energy drinks, one, the amount of sugar that's in them is probably going to be very unhealthy, all right? Not probably, it is. But if you probably have sugar, it's very unhealthy for you. It does nothing but increase adipose cells in your body, all right? But secondly, if you're taking in those fake sugar-based energy drinks, those create a whole slew of problems in your system that I don't even want to get into, all right? Just trust me on this one, please, that your energy drinks are not as healthy as a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, all right? Now, Pre-workouts, last thing I'm gonna say. I hope that your workouts are challenging enough for you where they raise your heart rate to a point where you feel like your heart's might explode, your lungs are on fire, okay? What that's telling me is that you Marines are training hard enough to where you are just crushing yourselves so that you recover to become more fit and more lethal, all right? I implore you not to take a supplement that's gonna raise your heart rate before you go raise your heart rate, all right? It doesn't benefit you. And adversely, if you need to take a pre-workout to raise your heart rate because your workout isn't hard enough to raise your heart rate, I'm going to challenge you to find a workout program that's a little bit more advanced than some calf raises, okay? And a few bicep curls, all right? All right, I'll be done preaching that argument there. So, recap for the second half, all right, talking about the macros. We wanna throw in fats, healthy fats with every meal you can, all right, to help satiate you for that meal. Carbohydrates, let's use them prudently, all right? We're going to be talking about no empty carbs when we do use them, so we're going to stick to those potatoes, that brown rice, that quinoa, all right? Stay away from breads, all right, as much as you can, flour. All right, so again, timing-wise, carbohydrates, maybe a pre and a post-workout time frame, all right, to fuel you for the workout and replenish your glycogen storages after that workout. But remember, don't replenish them too much after workout if you don't need any for a while. All right, and lastly, protein. We want to take them post-workouts for sure so that we are recovering off of our workouts. But if we go overboard on these numbers here, all right, all you're doing is wasting your money on your proteins, wasting your time eating that excess protein when you could save it and store it for later, all right? So I hope this helped out. Please run the numbers, especially for those of you that like to take in a lot of protein. Run this number real fast and break it down how much protein you can actually or should be having per meal. You're gonna be really surprised at how more efficient you can make your meal prep and your meal times from this point forward. Our next video 2 of the series, is gonna talk about approaches to eating healthy at the chow hall, all right? And I'll get to vent to you some of my frustrations I'm sure all of you feel about how to get healthy in a Sodexo chow hall. It can be quite frustrating. All right, thanks again for your time.